Guys, I need you to help me out with something here. There was a debate show that talked about whether the Kansas City Chiefs and the Cincinnati Bengals, are rivals. And in the comment section of that video, it was loaded with Kansas City Chief fans who claimed that obviously the Chiefs and the Bengals aren't rivals. The Chiefs are just that much better than the Bengals, and the poor Bengals had never won a Super Bowl. So how can you even say they're rivals to the Chiefs? Well, that's one place you can, that's one I guess, angle you can take. But winning Super Bowls is not the definition of a rivalry. Didn't the Bengals prevent the Chiefs from going to the Super Bowl 2 years ago? Yes, they did. Didn't the Bengals and the Chiefs have a very close game last year? Didn't Mahomes get a late hit call that put them in field goal territory? That on that same play, two Chief players were holding Bengals players that should have neglected that call. That game should have gone into overtime, and the Bengals may have won in overtime. Who knows? We don't know. In the last four games, if it wasn't for that controversial call, and that game had a lot of controversy, those refs wanted the Chiefs to win, I think. Guys, if the refs called that game fair, the Bengals could be 4-0 against you. Now, as it stands, the record books will say the Bengals, the last four times you played, they're 3-1. They're 2-8, 2-0 at their home field, and they're 1-1 at your field at AFC Championship games. They actually prevented you 2 years ago from going to the Super Bowl. And you were a no, you weren't a one seed 2 years ago. But last year you were a one seed. All you had to do was beat the Jaguars. The Bengals had to beat the Ravens. Very, very tough team, even without Lamar. The Bengals go and they beat the Bills in all that snow. And then third week in a row, they play the Chiefs at Arrowhead. And you win by a controversial call. I mean, the late hit wasn't controversial, but there was holding on that play and all throughout that game. Like that replay down, the other stuff, the calls that aren't, the penalties that aren't called. Guys, I mean, now in what universe can you be 1-3 against a team? Can a team actually prevent you from getting the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and then you prevent them from going to the Super Bowl, you and the refs, the next year? How is that not a rivalry? Guys, at least embrace the rivalry. It's kind of fun. I mean, there's no one else in the AFC West that can, touch the Chiefs. Maybe the Broncos with Peyton coming, maybe they'll be a challenge, but I don't think so. I think Russell Wilson's best years are ahead of him. The Raiders are going to be a joke. So why not embrace the Bengals if you're a Chiefs fan? Guys, I think sometimes Chiefs fans they think that they smell so good they don't need any deodorant. Guys, the Chiefs have weaknesses. All right? The Chiefs, I don't think should have won that Super Bowl against the Eagles. In my opinion, you should call a game like you should call play at the end of the game like you call the game all game long. And if anything, you should be looser with the whistles. You shouldn't be stricter with them. So that pass interference call, I think that was bogus. If I was an Eagles fan, I wouldn't be happy with that. I think the Eagles were legitimately cheated out of a chance to win that game. But I'm not an Eagles fan, so I'm not going to cry over them. And I actually have high respect for Patrick Mahomes. I think he's the best quarterback in the league. I think Kelsey and Kittle, I think they're the best tight ends, but I'd give Kelsey the edge just because he has Mahomes and that chemistry. And Chris Jones, I mean, he's a monster. I mean, the Bengals in that AFC Championship game recently, they couldn't block him. But they had three out of their five offensive linemen were hurt. So I think if you're a Chiefs fan, I just first of all, can you explain why the Bengals aren't a rival? See, if I have a favorite team and you prevent me from going to the Super Bowl, then the next year I only win by controversy, and also the two regular season games the other team wins. Well, I would consider that a rivalry. If I was a Chiefs fan and I wasn't, drunk or on Kool-Aid or whatever, I would actually think the Bengals were a rivalry. Well, what's the logic for why they aren't? So, guys, I just that just really seemed odd to me. Anyway, guys, have a good day and God bless.